Namaste. Namaste and welcome to David and Shantal in our weekend card pull. This is David's second appearance, and thank you, David, for being a co-host and playing along. We had some fun watching some of the video from last week. This evening is a weekly event, which is hosted on She Achieves Studio, Facebook and YouTube Live, which is called Weekend Card Pull, where I don't have the cards. Then I guess it's the Sacred Mystery cards. Okay. I have these cards. There we go. Okay, so we do a weekend card pull to finish the week, to bring a sense of closure to the week and to honor the upcoming week. Okay. And this upcoming week is Mental Health Awareness Week. And I want to give a big shout out right off the bat to Vicki Rasmussen at True North Alignment. And please check out her website and Facebook page as well. I believe she's on Instagram as well. She has a wonderful upcoming workshop and practice this week honoring mental health. So please check her out at True North Alignment. Namaste, Vicki. Okay, so this evening we will do a card pull after we do a bit of grounding, and then we're going to have a little discussion. David and I are going to have a little chat. Yeah. But before we do, we have to clear our space. And we don't only clear our space, we are also clearing your space if you want. Okay. And this is our sacred Palo Santo wood to clear the last week away, to clear any residue that may hold us back from finding light, love, and life in the upcoming week ahead. Okay, so we will let that burn. And I was going to offer the singing bowl, but we're going to rattle. So just everyone, if you feel like it, eyes open or eyes closed, whatever feels safe for you, and listen and hear the vibration of the rattle. And breathe into the belly. And perhaps an open mouth and a gentle sigh if there's extra energy to release. Beautiful. I love it. Okay, so let's go into, I'm not going to pull the cards right away. I'm going to play with them and get to know them. The cards this evening, these are actually beautiful cards. They're the Sacred Mystery cards, the Chakra Oracle. Okay, so whatever card is pulled this evening to close our week and to enter into the new week, and the intent of the 5-minute morning meds coming up on Wednesday, another Facebook Live at 7:35 to 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. I will post the picture and the story from the book as well. Okay, for you. So, how are you doing, David?
Good.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, thanks for making supper.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, Shanty Om. Thank you for making supper. Okay, I have before I start the cards, I've been journeying into the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, which is so amazing. So amazing. And there is this quote, which I have on my phone. Okay. Are you ready for this? When the breath is unsteady, the mind is unsteady. When the breath is steady, the mind is steady, and the yogi becomes steady. Therefore, one should restrain the breath. And I asked David actually earlier if he wanted to talk about that. And we started to actually get into this really organic conversation about it. So we sort of stopped. So perhaps, we can pick up where we left off as I shuffle the cards.
Sure.
So we have 5 koshas, okay? We have 5 layers of body from the Ayurveda science, the sister science of yoga. And the koshas start with the physical body, and then it goes into energetic, mental, intuitive, and spiritual. I also like to add in emotional and thought body, which kind of resides in part of the mind body. And we notice, like with that quote, it always goes to my mind of a young child who is having a temper tantrum, or who is just so right, and holding the breath, and then their face turns red and their knuckles turn white and they stomp or they fall on the ground and have a temper tantrum. Children do that automatically. We have a very active community here with children. Now it's interesting how there's a lot more younger children, and they're screaming all the time, screaming out of excitement, screaming out of frustration, screaming out of pain.
Joy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Screaming out of joy, happiness, excitement. And, I think about how when we're younger, we automatically just let that out. And as we age and become adults, we start to withhold. And therefore, when we withhold our emotions, guess what? Our breath is also withheld. And the breath is sort of like the channel. It's like the vehicle for prana. And prana, most simply put, is our life force. It's our sacred life force energy. So we have the very first breath from when we are born into this world to the very last breath on our exhale as we transition out of this world. And what we have in between it is so sacred, yet breath seems to be something that we forget, we take for granted sometimes, not all the time. Okay. And I just noticed that for myself, that's how yoga has really, really helped me, whether I'm in restorative or in a vinyasa or in a yin pose or meditating or the asanas removed. It's still even the philosophy of yoga, and how when you connect with it, it actually can change your entire life. It can change all of the koshas. So I just found it interesting. And then I think I asked you earlier about if you were able to relate to that,
Sure.
at all.
And I talked about how it was with golf. What?
Can you speak louder?
Yeah, I'm fine. It was working last time.
Okay, sorry.
That's it. Anyways,
okay.
No, with golf, how I would hold my breath when I swing the club, and I think I started it at the beginning of last year or the year before, something like that, where I would time my swing to my breath as opposed to timing my breath to my swing. I wouldn't swing until I was ready to exhale. I would inhale as I'm doing my routine to get up to the ball,
yeah,
right, and do all the things, and then as I'm timing my breath, and then as I'm ready, and then I would inhale and then start the backswing, and then I would exhale as I come through. Right. And it reminded me of like when you watch like a boxing match, they're always exhaling every time they throw a punch. You hear that psh, psh, that breath sound. Eh? Same with UFC, they do that. Like weightlifters, the power lifters and that, right? There's always a big exhale and a big, even a vocal exhale, right? Of grunt or whatever it was. But there's always a breath in movement like that. And never thought of it before until we were talking about it a year or so ago, about how you can use your breath that way instead of holding your breath.
But it's such a natural thing to hold your breath. Sometimes, like if you're scared, or
I think it's natural to not even recognize you are. Because we do it every day. We do it subconsciously. Your body just breathes. And unless you're like being really focused on your breath, whether it's like at sleep at night or if you're sick and you're noticing your breath or you're noticing you have a wheeze or something of that nature. But um, it, I think it has to do with what you're doing, as opposed to even just in a relaxation mode. You don't even really notice. You might even not even notice your breath. Sitting watching TV or sitting at the cubicle at work or in front of your computer or whatever. You're not noticing your breath. You're just doing it. But where you could use your breath to change your state in the position or the place you're in to calm yourself or to release tension
or
just
or to invigorate
sure or that
as
too.
well.
Yeah.
So how do you, okay, so when do you hold your breath?
When do I hold my breath?
Yeah. Do you notice? Like, do you
No,
notice when you hold your breath?
no. I'm really conscious about it when I golf now. To not, I'm very conscious of it in that whatever it is, 10, 12 seconds or 8 seconds of swinging or whatever it is there. But no, I don't notice me holding my breath. No, not at all.
Hmm. And how do you, okay, so outside of golf, what about in like everyday life?
No, I when I'm being more vigorous at work or losing up a lot of energy of where we're having to climb a lot of stairs to get to part of the plant or stuff like that, I'll be conscious of my breath then, especially getting up like to the when you're climbing a lot of stairs to get up and
Yeah,
then
because you're having it puffing.
yeah,
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 sure. Okay, so what about
54 and out of shape. But when I get to the
yeah.
top, I will use my breath to calm myself by taking deep breaths and calming breaths to slow down my heart rate to calm myself and to yes.
Okay, so that's on your physical level.
Yes.
So what about your emotional level?
No. 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 I don't know if I've ever recognized it emotionally.
Okay.
To tell you the truth.
Energetically kind of goes with whatever activity you're doing,
Yeah.
recognizing it on an energetic level. What about a mental level? What about when you're stressed?
No. No.
Or when we're having one of those conversations?
Sure. Conversations. Yeah. Um yeah, I probably notice it then where I can feel my heart rate pick up and I'm like amped up and I need to just calm myself.
Mm-hmm.
I hear that from you. That deep nose breathing in, but yes.
What helps me stop what helps me stop me from cutting you off
Yes.
when we talk
Yes.
is has yoga. Yoga has helped me do that
Sure.
because I am more conscious of my breath. So I start to feel agitated sometimes when David talks, and when I feel that, I feel I feel it in my mouth. I feel it in my throat. I feel it like my hands get sweaty. I start to get like itchy and twitchy, and then recognizing those physical signs, automatically it's like, oh, you want to cut him off and you want to take over the conversation.
How do you mean sometimes when David talks? Like, is there like, what do you mean? Just when I'm talking?
Well,
Like my talking bothers you or the topic bothers you?
no, I think
what is it?
well, it's just sometimes, well, when I cut you off when we're talking and I'm like,
Yes.
okay, well, just get it out already. Like, and you're like beating around the bush. I'm just like, freaking get to the point. And I finish your sentence or I say something, I interject, and it's completely not
Wrong.
even what you
Completely
mean.
like wrong. Not even close.
Okay. Can I share the arm thing?
Sure.
Okay. So, quite a few years ago, David and I were taught, it's not a trick. It's, we were taught a
trigger mechanism, maybe?
a trigger mechanism or just something to do, an activity to do.
It's a very subtle way for each of us to let each other know that we need to interject now.
Well, That's not okay. Okay. How I see it
Yes.
is it is there to give us a physical sign to stop, look, and listen,
Sure.
basically.
Okay, sure.
So not
That's
to interject.
but
That
well,
is that how you see it?
The end result is interjecting into the conversation. But yes, I agree with you.
So it's this. So if we're having a conversation, okay, and either I'm getting elevated or perhaps David is getting elevated, or stuttering or whatever it is, this just the human touch that has been our sign for what we've been together for what 20 years 19 years, so probably about 17 years,
just on the forearm,
just on the forearm, and it's soft, it's not a grab, it's just a touch. And it's really interesting because when we were taught that by a wise man, it almost imprinted. And I swear till the very end, it doesn't matter. Anytime that this happens, I can feel my heart soften, I can feel David's heart soften, and them soften together. So that just is as a physical sign to kind of connect and to stop and breathe. And why I'm bringing that up is because when I feel David's hand on my arm, and I don't know what he feels, but when I feel it, it's almost like I have an opportunity, an invitation to just breathe.
mm-hmm.
And to get out of the mess in my head, whatever is happening. So yeah, that's how I see it. What do you feel? What do you feel when
it breaks, like in the old movies? Okay, I don't know how to say it right because I'm me, but in the old black and white movies, there'd be a lady that would get hysterical, and the guy smacked her in the cheek or another guy smacked another guy in the cheek, but they smacked them to get them out of their hysterics, kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel it to that intensity, but I feel it. It breaks the cycle of my thought process to stop me from going where I'm going because I'm maybe getting elevated. I find it just instantly stops me and recognizes that it's okay. And I just stop.
Yeah.
And did that, sure, that look and listen and breathe, I'm sure all of that. I probably never thought of it now, but it just stops me to not get elevated. And I know everything's okay. Okay, just calm down and
yeah
listen for a while.
and on, like, honestly, for me, when that happens, and then we'll move on to the card, when that happens, it's almost like a reset. And there's absolutely, for me, this is just my experience and I don't know, perspective, whatever, but it's like I don't feel in any way, shape, or form, what do you call it, defensive. I don't feel defensive, I don't feel aggressive. It just calms. And that's just our story. I mean, by any means, you guys do you. But why I brought that up is because it fits, because the physical touch is so important, and it's so powerful to shake us out of the clashes, the obstacles in our mind.
And it helps with the breathing aspect of it.
Well, yeah.
Is where we started at, right? I mean, yeah, it helps that breath to help calm.
Yeah. So your breath can elevate not only your physical and energetic body, but your emotional, mental, intuitive, spiritual body. Okay. Your breath can also calm. Your breath can find that same pain point all the time. So if there's aggravation, it knows where to go. It knows where to go. It knows where to go. And then that's where we become diseased, or we have pain points. Okay. So breath is really important. Pranayama. Pranayama. It's the sacred gift of life, and honor it. Moral of the story. Okay, card. Ready?
Oh, my glasses.
Oh. Perspective. Perspective. Look at that. It's a matter of perspective. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so chakra. These are chakra cards. 18. So this is red. What is this one? Oh, is that Manipura? Oh, cool. Okay. Perspective. Yeah, depends on how much ego is involved. It's like what we're talking about. If we're having a conversation and there's some ego happening, or defensiveness, or anger, or guilt, or a heavy emotion, okay, the perspective is going to be altered a little bit from, maybe if I'm feeling defensive and you're trying to say something, well, God, I'm like that like 90% of the time. Oh, I take everything personally. Thank God for yoga.
Or we don't always see the same thing the same way. Like, not, I don't want to say not often, but more than 50% of the time, we do not see the same thing the same way.
No.
Not at
all. No. Yes, I agree. See, like what you see and what I see.
Sure.
Yeah, completely different. However, we can still weave together.
Sure.
And that goes back to polar opposites and combining and harmonizing polarities. There's going to be that flux, whether it's male, female, yin, yang, birth, death, whatever it is. There is that space in between. And that's what you get to explore for it.
Sure.
You know? Okay. Indra. Okay, there's so much. This goes through the chakras and okay. I'm going to go and it goes through the koshas, so it's really long, and I will post this later. So conversing with the oracle. Okay, let's see. Having lots of power and clinging to tightly held beliefs in relation to it are often valued, especially by people who are consciously or unconsciously imitating domineering adults who cared for them during childhood so that they felt dominated and powerless. Wow, we were just kind of talking about that. Okay. But craving power and holding on to rigid beliefs limit your ability to connect with your higher or deeper or greatest self or greater self. So I'm going to read that again. Craving power, and we're talking about power over, I think, versus power within. But craving power and holding on to rigid beliefs limit your ability to connect with your higher or deeper or greater self, because there's so much ego involved. Enjoying life's adventures and the intangible gifts of a tantric path are far easier to grasp when you're satisfied with enough power, instead of losing yourself in an insatiable demand for more. Yeah, I will be happy if I ... Well, I'll be good when ... I think we talked about this last week too. I'll be happy when he does ... right? And that is a very I don't know if that's like passive aggressive. I don't know what the label would be, but I think it's something that I can relate to, because I used to think that way a lot. I'll be happy when I get 5 more clients. I'll be happy when David talks to me in a sentence.
I just thought of when David finally listens to me and brings up the damn laundry basket that I asked like 4 hours ago.
Actually, it was 2 days, but, sure. But who's counting, David?
Sure.
Well, yeah. And
yes.
No, go ahead.
No, that's all I had. That's all.
Go ahead, David.
It's funny how that was the first thing that popped in my head.
Yeah.
I will be happy when. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, seriously, I used to live my life like that for so long, you know? And I look back and I'm like, I don't look back in regret, because for me, I can't, because every mistake, every personal thought that I've taken, every harshness I've thought, every unkind word that I've said, I've learned from it. And honestly, it's through the pain of yoga because it broke down, like going through this yogic path, especially through Ayurveda and Tantra as well. It's really it's really crumbled a lot of barriers and brick walls that I held very close to me as my guardianship. And I'm really thankful that you've stuck through it, with me. So, hey, way to go. High five, David. Woo!
No problem.
Good job. Good job. Okay, so what do you think of that? Just as we're closing up. Any comments of power over? I'll be happy when I get 75 on a golf game, or 82 or something like that.
At least you tried. That's awesome.
I really did.
You really did.
But
No, I
you
don't.
know what I mean?
I don't think of it. No, of that for the perspective with power, the power within. No, it wasn't the power within. It was the power over.
It's more the power over.
Yeah. No. You get after a while, you just become a beaten down dad. You lost power.
I just give up.
No,
I just give up.
No.
Well, you pick your battles.
You do.
I guess,
Sure, you do.
And that's the thing. Like, resistance sometimes is just so hard. It's so draining to resist things in life. And love is, I know I talk about love more and more every day because it's it's just opened up such a path. Like the resistance I have, that I used to have with my kids,
Sure.
and micromanaging them, and now it's so different, and our marriage and our relationship and me and the outer world, and it's just,
Sure.
I don't know, it's
I
changed.
don't think of. I don't. The power of over it to me. It just takes too much energy, and it's not worth my time. It's just way too much energy. I don't care. Right. I mean, I learned from my dad and from my brother. Right. They care, and they will help endlessly, but they give zero. They don't.
Do you know what word he was going to say?
They don't about power at all. Has no place in their life for it, right?
Are you going to tell a story?
Yes.
Okay.
I am.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
We were young, and we had relatives with us in our station wagon, like 1970s, late 70s. We're coming out of a parking lot, and it's summertime, and there's a guy who wants to come in the parking lot, and he wouldn't let Dad out of the parking lot. And the guy rolled down his window. He was yelling at my dad, and my dad just stuck out his tongue and went, and then drove off, right? And so he basically deflated the guy's power altogether. Like, my dad was not going to join into his anger and all that other crap. He just didn't care. Whatever, didn't care. Wasn't going to be involved with it, right? I visually just remember that so well, right? And just hanging out with Brian, it's like they have this incredible ability to not care about power of over people or over just of anything like that. It's just doesn't have a place in their life because it chews up way too much energy and way too much, and creates so much of that stress, right? And then can get back to that breathing part at the beginning. We were talking about how it can affect all of that. So it's their perspective and their situational places in life there. It's really amazing to watch sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes you can get addicted to power. We went on a walk this evening, and we were talking about how people are very. I said habitual, and you said. I said that the excess of the word you said was addictive. Oh, adaptable. So I said humans are very habitual, and
Oh,
we're very adaptable.
yes. Yeah, that's right too.
And you can, and sometimes being adaptable can, lead to addictions.
Sure.
Or the opposite. It can lead to, okay, like,
Well,
there's that balance. Again, it's that balance that we look for, that we want to try and at least be, even if we can't access it all the time, at least we know that it's there and it's accessible. And as always, you got to be willing, and you won't be willing until that breath comes in, and never a breath before. Because no matter how many things I've done in my life, if someone's tried to force me, like the very first time I practiced yoga, I still remember it. I had all of my bodily functions happened at once, and I lasted like probably 2 minutes, and I didn't even get in legs up the wall, and then 30 years later, here I am. I can't live without some type of yogic philosophy every single day, because when I don't, the universe does this. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. Or it does this. Ow, quit it. Ow, quit it. Ow, quit it. And just learning those signs and paying attention. So I think all of that begins with a certain amount of awareness, whether it's this or whether it's this or that. All right, our time is up.
Okay.
Thanks, baby.
No problem.
It's been fun. I like this.
Sure. Who's on next week?
I don't know. I've got like 4 ladies waiting to co-host with me, and I keep bumping them off because I'm having so much fun. So I don't know. We'll see. If you like this, share this video with others. And comments are great. Love to hear your comments, even after the fact. And stay posted to sheachievestudio.com, and also True North Alignment as well. Check out our websites. I update my website definitely once a week, but sometimes more. I've got an upcoming awesome new moon ceremony called New Moon Shakti. I always forget the name of it. Shakti Soak ceremony, where it's a 2-hour ceremony on May 11th in the evening, and we work through a virtual 45-minute asana practice, and then we log off and we go have a bath. And you actually, for the ladies who do register, I send you out. I actually deliver it if you're local. If not, I'll mail it to you. But you actually get a Shakti swag bag with some goodies in it for your bath. So we asana online. Offline, we go have a bath for 45 minutes, and then we come back and we go into silent journaling and a guided meditation. And it's to just share that virtual space can really be healing, and love is etheric. So that's kind of a little gift to everyone. Registration details are on sheachievestudio.com. Yin Yang Yoga with me, Restore on the Floor, and Sweat and Serenity. All of those offerings, fee and free based, are all on sheachievestudio.com. If you just need to get out of life and hang out, go hang out at sheachievestudio.com. There's lots of fun goodies there to share. So thanks, David.
No problem, babe.
And thank you, everyone, for inviting us into your home, for sharing your space, and for showing up for you. I say Namaste. Peace out. I love you all. Bye.